TGC Requiem. We're back with Modern Elves. Um, just kind of trying to make a bigger deal about it today, or tonight, or in general. Just if you want to follow me on Twitter, at TGC Requiem, as noted here in the bottom right hand corner. Actually did a poll on Twitter to see what deck people wanted me to play tonight, and that deck was the winner. So if you want to have some say in what I play and post from week to week, not that I'll do it every week, but probably every other week or so, um, feel free to follow me so you can vote in those polls. As for this, I think this is keepable. Unfortunately, you have to keep a lot of one-land hands, and we do have some amount of mana accelerant, so this could turn out okay. This also could be terrible. This is sometimes what happens with elves, but I'm actually good with this. So we're on the draw, looking at either Black-White Eldrazi or Eldrazi and taxes rather, or else maybe Abzan. Definitely gonna run out the Mystic. Eldrazi and taxes is a super easy matchup for Elves. Part of why I'm playing Elves is how favorable a lot of the decks in the meta are. Fetid Heath, that's uncommon. Bet that Elvish Mystic gets snagged up. He may take Collected Company if he doesn't have a whole lot of other ways to interact. This actually makes me think it's more like a Black-White Tokens deck, probably, which still probably fairly favorable to us, or for us. Eldrazi decks in general just don't fare very well against Elves. It's a big reason why I've been playing it a lot lately. Smallpox. So he's going to sack his Flagstones of Trakir, so this card works really well in conjunction with that because he basically gets to replace his land for free. We're going to discard. So this is this actually just Black-White 8-rack? The question starts to become what's better than Collected Company or Court of Calling? I think we're actually going to cut a... We're actually going to pitch a Collected Company here. Court is actually very, very useful. So I'm just trying to think if we were to go for a Heritage Druid, we still wouldn't be able to. We're just going to go for the beats here. Yeah, this has got to just be 8-rack. That doesn't scare us. Yeah, and I'd rather make him. I'm not really worried about Gideon creating creatures, and I'm not really worried about Gideon attacking us. We're worried about path. That's pretty much the only thing that's really truly concerning to us right now, is if he goes after Azuri. Yeah, and the opponent just concedes. With Court and Collected Company, unless he's got the right answers, we're kind of okay. We do have to worry a little bit about probably damnation type effects this game. Azuri's not as good against that. Still not sure what our opponent is playing. He's either playing just black-white control, or it's possible, again, he's playing 8-rack. Fraction Gust, fantastic against 8-rack. Against black-white control, maybe not so much. He also could just be on tokens. With the Gideon, that actually makes tokens seem a lot more realistic, so I think... Let's see, so he's probably playing Bitter Blossom and some sort of token anthems, so Fraction Gust could be okay in that regard. Chameleon would be really good, pro-black. Reclamation Sage could be pretty decent. Cord would be better. Although Lead the Stampede could be good here as well. Well, I think we want Kitchen Finks as spells that we can recur, or that after they die they can come back. And then it's possible we want Abrupt Decay, but I don't really feel like that's definitively the case. Azuri would be good for Overrun. However, his removal is going to be more path and sweeper based, and he doesn't really help with the regeneration against that, so I think we're actually going to pull Azuri here. We're actually going to pull Heritage Druid and a Dwynen's Elite. I expect a little bit more spot removal. That can make Lead the Stampede pretty good, but I don't think he packs quite as much removal rather. So I'm pretty good with this. I think we're probably just going to cut one chord. Just run the 2/2. With more removal, the chords are going to be a little bit weaker, potentially. But they're also stronger in the sort of situation where the opponent doesn't have permission. I'm just really questioning whether or not we want. I think we haven't seen enough to be confident about the Fraction Gust, and I think the games will go a little bit longer. We can cut a fetch land. And I'm good to roll with that. So this is decent. A little slow. But we're really just a draw away. I like the solid mana, which could be quite relevant with our opponent's smallpoxes. It's a good chance he pulls smallpox, since we get so wide so quick and our mana is kind of, I don't want to say irrelevant, but it can make it make his smallpoxes a little less relevant. Oh, we also... Yep. So I think we're just going to lead on Cavern here. It's really the kind of one of these lesser relevant matchups. We're going to go in on Nettle Sentinel. It's probably going to get killed. But ideally we're going to get rid of some of his removal by the time we slam down the Kitchen Finks. Or we burn through his removal, his Hand Disruption. Although Hand Disruption is probably going to take the Lead the Stampede, but we would be able to then Lead the Stampede to refill our hand, ideally. So this is like the ideal smallpox draw right here. except that he doesn't have the flagstones. Collective Brutality. So he escalates for... Ooh, he's got an Obsidian. Okay. Maybe a little Goryo's Vengeance action. The question here is, do you take the Lead the Stampede or the Collective Brutality? Both are going to be really good. So I'm definitely putting this guy on black-white control at this point. So he did take the Collected Company. There's really no reason to run out the Heritage Druid at this point. Better to hold it for a situation where we can maybe put a couple creatures down all in one turn. And if he wants to spend it on the Heritage Druid, he can. More likely he's going to take the lead here, and then we'll get to just throw down the... No, he takes the Kitchen Finks. Alright, so this is the sort of situation where you can set up a decent Lead the Stampede if you hit well. Opponents burn through quite a few resources. Of course, we only hit 2. That happens sometimes. It's probably the average is like 3, but you get those beautiful 5-card hands. But now we're set up to actually use Heritage Druid, run out all these creatures and Azuri on the same turn, which is why we held the Heritage Druid in hand. Of course, now we're looking at Damnation or Wrath of God being pretty effective here. So we may actually... I think we're actually just going to slow roll this a little bit. I want to set up a turn where we can lay out a bunch of creatures and Shaman of the Pack. And again, I'm totally good with just eating his spot removal here. So again, just throw a couple creatures out there at a time. And we can apply a little bit of pressure on him. So there's our Gideon. So I think we are, much as we don't really want to, we're actually going to give the Llanowar Elves a little size. And then put some pressure. Do we want to attack the Gideon here or just attack our opponent? If he doesn't kill the... I don't know, I kind of feel like we just want to go at our opponent here. If he doesn't kill the Archdruid, we can just kill him next turn with Azuri. If we go Mystic Heritage Druid, we can tap for 5. No, that's not going to quite kill him. We just got to make sure his Gideon doesn't get too strong there. Of course, playing around Wrath and Damnation all game is probably going to cause problems for us. The problem is if we attack him and put him down to 9, assuming he doesn't block, he's just going to, if he does have Wrath of God, he just wrecks us. And odds are he's just going to Damnation anyway, and then follow it up by creating a token. But then we can at least deploy multiple threats to hopefully get around his tokens the next turn. He's actually going to uptick and attack us, and he knows we're not going to block, and he's just going to Damnation, although I almost feel like if he was going to just Damnation afterwards anyway, that he should have just created a token after combat. So that was a good draw, getting the 1 mana creature there. So shy of another Damnation. This looks okay. Fatal Push is not going to be able to get the Azuri short of him losing a permanent. Certainly he could be running Path in his deck, one would assume he is. And he conceded. So looks like we would have drawn a little lame there. He may have been able to take over the game with Gideon, but he probably just didn't have anything really in hand to handle the Azuri, which probably meant we were going to get to him sooner or later. So yeah, alright, so we go 2-0 in this match. That puts us to 1-1 and 3-2 in the league so far. We'll be back with another match shortly.